Okay, so underneath this box is an RS2M evolution, but it's in pieces. So let's have a look at this mechanism. Now, the important thing to understand about a 2x2 is that there is a fixed corner piece here. These corner pieces, these edge pieces, are not going to come out easily. Now, what does this mean? It means you must never, ever twist the fixed corner on a 2x2. It is not easy to twist, do not force it, otherwise the cube will basically break. Okay? So the other 7 pieces are pretty easy to twist, you can twist them easily, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I have noticed some of them where it's like the actual corner piece thing that links into the core comes off, and that's really annoying, but sadly it's just a manufacturing issue, and usually I just have to get a replacement piece, which is annoying, but I have to deal with it. But this, if that breaks off, it's your own fault. And it's important that you understand. Now, 2x2s are basically 3x3s, but you can't see the edge piece for the most part. But these are fixed in place. You cannot get these out without massively loosening the screws, which is what I'm about to do. But that means that this corner, everything else revolves around it. That's how a 2x2 works. And the thing is, you might not realise that, but isn't it a good thing that you don't realise that? Because if you could realise that very easily, then the 2x2 wouldn't perform very well, would it? So now I've fully taken out this piece here, which means that these two come out. And you can see that this has 2 slots there. This is to put these pieces in, the pieces that are different. So when you're reassembling a 2x2, there's always going to be something like this. It might not be exactly the same, different mechanisms do it slightly different ways, but the broad principle is going to be the same. There's going to be one fixed corner that is harder to put back in, but you have to put that back in first and then reassemble everything else around it. So this is still in because these two are both still in place. This is going to be very hard to get out without unscrewing one of these, but once I've unscrewed one of these, it's going to come out as well. Right, so now we can see all these pieces. I've taken out 2 of these centers, so all of these come out. Now sometimes you don't have to actually completely take the center out. On certain 2x2s, they're not fixed in place to that extent, but they're always fixed in place in some way that makes it hard enough to not get out, that it's not really going to happen by mistake, or it's going to be incredibly unlikely. You'd have to be a very, very rough turner or whatever for that to happen. On this, I mean, it is impossible for them to come out by mistake, which makes the RS2 evolution a pretty good cube. Now, when reassembling, this means that you're basically going to have to reassemble this fixed corner with putting back the centers. So we can put this back on like this, and then we can try to screw this in. Now this, and make sure that you're putting this in the right place. If this other, obviously I could screw this into this piece here, but if I did that, then this thing here would be there, which would mean I'd have to take it out again and it wouldn't work at all, which would be a very bad idea. Right, so now I've screwed that one in. Now I can get to put in the rest in. And the thing is with this is I'm not going to be able to get this, if I don't put the fixed corner back in right now, it's not going back in. So a lot of 2x2 mechanisms aren't quite like this, but they all are somewhat similar to this. I am going to have to put this fixed corner in, I'm going to have to squeeze this in on top of it, like that. Then this is quite fiddly, but it's worth mentioning this is the first time I've ever done it with an RS2M Evolution, and I'm able to do it. So people have no excuse really. So this is almost done. Just screw this back in. There we go, and now we have this fixed corner back in place. So that's the important thing to understand about 2x2 mechanisms. There is a fixed corner, it must go in a specific place. Now you can change which corner is being fixed if you really want to. I don't know, I mean it doesn't really matter in any way what corner is fixed, so if you completely dismantle it and then rebuild it and put a different corner as the fixed corner, so what? It's irrelevant. But you can do that. Some 2x2 mechanisms are designed in a way that you can't do that. There is one fixed one that's just perpetually fixed in place with a different way, but most of them these days are designed so that there's some sort of locking mechanism around one corner that you can alter if you really want to. So I'm just going to quickly finish reassembling this 2x2 to basically prove exactly that it can be done pretty easily, because reassembling cubes isn't meant to be too difficult. They are obviously done in the factory very quickly, I'm sure much quicker than I could ever do it. And there we go. Now it's just to get this one corner back in, which is quite a fiddly task, but can definitely be done. There we go. Wait a minute, what's going on here? There we go. And we have a RS2M Evolution functioning normally again. I think. Yeah. So yep, that's how 2x2 mechanisms work. If you want more details, then let me know. If you've got any other video ideas, let me know. But yeah, I think it's important. So if you have watched this, thank you, because it's important people understand how this all works. All right.